Welcome to Sculpture Studios, scraping through into 2021 with a very quick turnaround project here today, and this comes from ITV and art director Catherine Land. Now, for anyone here in the UK that recognises television host Stephen Mulhern, well, we're going to be somewhat blowing him up today. Nothing inflatable and certainly nothing explosive. We're actually going to be creating a giant head of Stephen for Ant and Dec's Saturday night takeaway. Television gold during these hard times, the series, starting in February, is going to feature a football mini-golf course, and that's where our head comes into play. We've been given sizes, some front and side-on references of Steve to work from, so now it's a case of gridding up to transfer onto polystyrene for the big bad boss Aden to crack on and carve.
Hi guys, I'm here all alone today in my studio. Got none of my sons here, they're all off on furlough or whatever they're up to today. But I've had nothing for a year in my studio. Really dead because all the theme parks and the exhibitions and theatres have all closed down. But just today I've had something confirmed, and that's to make a head of Stephen Mulhern, and they want that about 6 foot tall, so I've gridded it up and I've numbered it, and I'm going to carve it in polystyrene and give it a hard coat and perhaps do 2 little slits down the side so its mouth can open and close. But I'm going to start gridding it up now and defining the shapes and the profile, and I'll keep you appraised of the progress all the way through it. So I've done some exercises just to get buoyed up, and I'm all ready to go again. It's cold in the studio, but if I keep working, well, hopefully I'll get warmed up. So this is just the beginnings of the project. Wish me luck.
So the dimensions of getting this completely accurate are a little bit tricky, as the brief has changed a couple of times between grinning and smiling with the mouth open slightly. The front and side references differ depending on the angle and perspective of the camera, so we've had to just go for a mean average. As we only have a few weeks to get this project completely finished, that's carved, sent off for approval, whatever hard coat we decide to go on with, clean up and artwork, we need to just crack on with this straight away. The piece is going to be slightly more caricature anyway, so it's not as though this needs to be hyper-realistic, just a fun interpretation of Steve's head.
There you are, Steve. Finished. I've just got to make sure I get your teeth nice and white and straight. Unlike mine. Look at mine, Steve.
What's that gap?
Yeah.
Get a £1 coin between those bad boys.
More than that. Just a big block at the moment. Some rough markings on the side, and that's the dimensions. I'm going to be using hot wire with a little handle on and then off, and that gets extremely hot. Take little pieces off it, and here we go.
Everybody loves a bit of carving. Starting with the handheld hot wires to take off the bulk of the material, Aden then works down to nail brushes and wire brushes to hone the shape down to where he wants it. To make sure we're getting this sort of as eyeball close as possible, I've printed off some transparent line drawings of Stephen's face that Aden can hold up and directly compare his carving to. There's no time to have this programmed in and machine cut, and certainly not worth such a budget for a fun prop that's probably only going to be used for a couple of minutes, so this quicker hand carving method is the best route. Working down to some of the finer details now, Aden's using stonemason rifflers to accentuate the deeper areas. At the moment we're considering a 2-part plastic coating route for the final finish, but regardless of what material we're using, we need to make sure the deeper areas are exaggerated slightly to compensate for the material softening the detail.
And here we have Aden. You working over the weekend?
Yeah, I have been, yeah, definitely.
Over the weekend, just to refine old Stephen here.
Bit of a rush job, but this one's short.
Yeah, I know. But desperate times, desperate measures. We're in the middle of lockdown at the moment, so any project that comes through the door is much appreciated, even if it means coming in over the weekend to get this done in time for them. But we've been working from a couple of different references. First of all, they wanted the mouth smiling, then closed, and now smiling again. We've gridded him up from the front and the side, but depending on the perspective of the camera, from their profile shots, for argument's sake, if the camera's close here you can't see his ears, if the camera's far enough back you can. We've worked from a couple of different references, so it's always tricky to try and replicate just from front and side. It's always easier to have a small 3D model, or even just kind of coming down to take a head mould or something like that. But for all we know, this might be a surprise for old Steve Mulhern, so we'll see how it turns out on the day. Aden's just been going over with a soft water-based plaster render to amend a couple of areas, things like the eyebrows, the shape of the eyelids, the thickness of the bridge of the nose. And what else is the plaster for?
Well, good thing, because we're going over with a 2-part plastic, if it goes straight on top of polystyrene, it wants to sink into low spots and raise up on the high, and it's really hard to rub down. And the good thing about these soft filler plaster is we can get a relatively nice shell finish before we add the 2-part plastic.
So we've just had a thought, and we're thinking, what if this is absolutely blasted by footballs? What if they want to use this again later down the line in another episode? Though we've quoted for 2-part plastic as a finish, we're now considering bumping this up to glass fibre. This works out to be less cost effective and time effective on our end, but we want to make sure this job is tough enough for whatever is thrown at it, or kicked at it in this case. Once again, going above and beyond for the project. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Oh, I know, because we care, alright? We care.
Here we are, we had Steve Mulhern laying down on his back so we can laminate the whole front surface. We're going now with our sticky back foil, peel off the back. I think just for strength and longevity we're going to go over with glass fibre and then finish the top side of the glass fibre. Better to be safe than sorry. The plastic is good, but I'm not sure if it gets kicked. I think they're going to be kicking a ball here and the jaw dropping, and I want to make sure it's really strong instead of cracking. So yeah, it's a little bit more work, but I think it'd be worth it in the very end.
Steve, if you're watching this, I don't know if you remember, but Liam here and myself, we actually met you one time back in 2005, 2006. Thorpe Park it was. Bit of a bone to pick. Got a clip here of the card trick that you played on us called Crazy Aces. I had one line, Steve. One line to talk about how crazy the trick was.
When I made 4 aces appear from a pack of cards without even looking, and it drove people crazy.
I mean, I have absolutely no idea where we've dug these clips up from, so excuse the subtitles.
Ace number 1. There's ace number 2. Oh, God. There's ace number 3. And hopefully there's ace. Oh, nice. It's great, isn't it?
Where's the line? Cut. I then went on to pursue an acting degree in the hope that I could resurrect what happened that day. So, here's the line. It's crazy.
15 years I've been waiting to resurrect that moment. 15 years and 15 extra chins, but here we are. So we've gone over with a layer of glass fibre a layer of a flow coat resin, and we're now beginning to work up the final surface. The flow coat of resin is there to lose that fibrous matte texture, and we then go over with car body fillers that can be sanded down a little easier than the pure resin.
And so on the hair, we've done the filler already, but now we've gone over with a flow coat, and I've left it really thick so you can see the nice strands through there, and it gives a lovely kind of hair feel to the whole thing instead of just flat and smooth. So we think that for a change we're not using a smooth brush, we're using quite a rough brush, and so we get that nice sort of streaking effect through there, so that's good. Just dusting it over black, so when we rub it back again we can see the high spots and the low spots. Just a little technique we use, and so we can get it nice and flat. Just takes a bit of time to do this part, but I think it's worth it in the end.
We're using a laser line to mark out where the bottom jaw is going to be cut, so the mouth can open up sort of like a ventriloquist dummy. At the moment we're leaving the inside relatively blank, as we're not quite sure to what extent they want the artwork to be like on the inside of the mouth, so we'll no doubt paint accordingly at their end. As we believe this is going to be used inside, Aden's going to be painting this with water-based emulsions. The added advantage of using emulsion paints is, if this happens to be dented, knocked or scratched, the art department at ITV can simply use emulsions to touch back in the damaged areas, and not need to go down the route of 2K or car body paints. We're finishing this with a glossy lacquer, as the client says they'd like it to look bling and plasticky under the studio lights. Then it's off to ITV for Ant and Dec's opening episode of 2021 for their series of Saturday Night Takeaway.
Which in reality is a bit like this show when I'm not on it. Now, you can take... We had to spruce it up beforehand, it would look ridiculous. Right.
Taken by Sunderland fans as a wind-up. And it really worked too. It's not as easy as it looks. Particularly with a mad TV presenter jumping about in gold lame shorts next to you.
This course is now called My Head, for obvious reasons. Now, we took this out of my back garden, but I'm charging out deck mate rates. Now, you need to literally get your balls in the mouth and try and get them in the hole at the end, okay? So good luck.
Stick it in. Your head.
You're up first.
Stick. Your head, stick.
It's solid. Well, actually, interestingly, we were going to get one maybe yours, but it didn't have enough plastic. Come on.
Stephen's head, life-size according to some,
It puts you off a lot.
is the obstacle on this raised hole. It's all about timing, because unlike real life, Stephen's mouth actually closes in a second or two. He's found a way through and very close to the hole.
This is good, Andy.
That was very lucky, Steve.
This is a goodie.
Okay.
Do you think he's had his teeth done?
He's done
It was a 2 for Ant.
Good luck, Deck.
Unbelievable!
That repeated unbelievable is not annoying at all, is it?
Strike back from Deck. I need a duck.
Fight back.
Right, this is a good fight back because now Deck is on 5 kicks and Ant is on 4, and Ant is the winner! It's a beautiful thing, and let me tell you guys.
And there we go, first official project of 2021, and what a job. Nice bit of carving for Aden, and a little something for all of our viewers out there at home. A big thank you to ITV and art director Catherine Land for approaching us with the project, and we look forward to many future projects to come. Please feel free to leave any comments below, as they're always appreciated, and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell for our latest videos. You can like Sculpture Studios on Facebook and follow @Aden Hynes on Twitter, and for more of our work, visit sculpturestudios.co.uk. Thank you very much for watching.